You are listening to the Average Pundits podcast on your favorite streaming platform.
Hiya guys, and welcome back to the Average Pundits podcast. At this moment in time, we have just finished watching Italy versus Spain, and if you weren't watching live, you'll probably know now Italy who we will hopefully be facing in the final of the Euros at this competition. It was a hell of a game between two titans of European football. Some questionable penalties from a couple of players, but it was Alvaro Morata which missed Spain's, and then Jorginho with the hop, skip, and jump. Absolute classic Jorginho. He knew what he was doing, and then bang into the goal. So fair play. They've been fantastic all tournament. It will be a real good game against them if we can get there. But before that, as always, guys, I am joined by Reese. How you doing, Reese?
Good. We kind of hopped on at the end. We were watching separately, and then extra time we were like, yeah, let's get on it. Let's watch it together. And wow, what I mean, to be fair, the extra time was a bit boring, but penalty shootouts. I mean, Italy they've got some great penalty takers. We didn't even get to Ciro Immobile, who is also a very good penalty taker. You calm and collected heads all round. Some great saves by Donnarumma. Whether it's poor penalties or good saves, it doesn't matter. But but I mean, to be fair, this podcast, whilst we will go over the Italy and Spain recap, in a bit more detail, as we just watched it, so we might as well kind of look towards the final as well as the semi-final, which on the day of recording is tomorrow, but as this come out, it will come out in the morning, so it is technically tonight. This is kind of the preview for Denmark versus England tomorrow. England obviously getting through in the quarterfinals, beating Ukraine 4-0, and Denmark getting through by beating the Czech Republic 2-1. So I think that the way that we're going to break this down, we're going to have a quick recap of how both teams got to the semi-final, breaking down both performances, and then kind of the preview going into it with a couple special guests. So make sure you stick around for that as well. Make sure you also go and follow us over on social media. Those links are in the description down below and on the screen as you see it right now. And also make sure to subscribe if you're on YouTube, or follow us if you're on Spotify, Apple Music, or any streaming platforms. Just before we get started, we got to get all the admin out of the way first. If you enjoy our content, give it a like as well. Join the Pundits Army. But that kind of leads us to into what we're going to start off with, and that's it's coming home. The hat's on. Yes, I'm wearing a Christmas shirt in July. Shut up. But we're going to start with England versus Ukraine. That happened on Saturday. It was a very, very nice antidote for me getting the vaccine. It was a very nice treat. I got stabbed in the arm. It hurt. I felt very, very angry. But 4-0 Ukraine. It was a mood lifter. Very big boost. Joe, what did you think to the 4-0 game?
Fantastic. It was absolutely fantastic. I've unfortunately been in isolation for the last few days, so it made isolation a lot more interesting. I don't have COVID, just for precautions. Obviously, still keeping safe, still keeping government advice. But it was a lovely treat. I was kind of chilling in the house, and I got to watch England do a very very surprising rather performance. I was expecting us to win that game. I wasn't expecting us to do it in quite that fashion. Obviously, there were some differences about going into that game. We knew that Ukraine were a bit of an underdog team. We knew that they could score goals. They could create a lot. Because it would be stupid to underestimate them, because they were in the quarterfinals of the European Championship. So anyone saying it was going to be an entirely easy game, they were kidding themselves really on paper. You can't go into thinking it like that. Turns out we cope pretty well, but you can't go into the game thinking like that. But I was really happy to see Sancho on the right, JS7, the boy. I was really happy to see him getting some game time. It made not seeing Grealish and Saka obviously a lot better, because everyone was kind of like hoping they'd see a bit more of those two, because they've been fantastic. But it was a very good addition, and we can see just how good a player Sancho was in that game. He was dancing around players for fun, creating so many chances. And then obviously Raheem Sterling again with the heroics. Harry Kane with a double. Harry Maguire as well. honestly, I don't think it could have been better. Everyone on that pitch was fantastic. But my personal shout out for that game has got to be Luke Shaw again. Oh my God. What a season and what a tournament. I think I just read before coming on doing this, Roberto Carlos is now praising Shaw. I saw loads of tweets like, oh, Shawberto Carlos at it again. And now the man himself has come through and been like, what a performance. But I don't know what you made of it, Reese, but I was absolutely delighted by that.
Well, it's very funny in my notes. Like, so for the England recap, I have Luke Shaw as a bit of as a subject to go on to. And in brackets, I do have Shawberto Carlos. So I mean, two assists for him. I mean, you can't deny him. Like, obviously, before when Mourinho was in charge of United, there was all this talk of him, being a bit chunky for the United squad, being unfit, and he's come out and he's proved his doubt is wrong. What he's going to be the left back of? I mean, maybe it would have been a toss up between him and Spinazzola, but obviously Spinazzola's gone, and unfortunately. I think he broke. I think was it breaking his ACL or something like that. It's a really horrible.
I'm pretty sure it's a severe ACL. I think he's not going to obviously feature at all for the rest of this tournament, and probably a bit longer at club level afterwards.
Yeah, it was a terrible injury. But I mean, Luke Shaw then obviously potentially goes and takes the crown for left back at the tournament. I mean, and we haven't even ended yet. He's been phenomenal. Like you said, the season that he's had with United, left back of the Premier League season, by far the best left back. I mean, to be fair, like when you consider performances and the Euros and everything, he at the moment I could say he is the best left back in the Premier League. It doesn't really matter. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, oh, Andrew Robertson's technically better. Based on performances this season, you can't argue that Luke Shaw is better at this point until Robertson starts proving it.
He had an amazing season. I mean, it was only in January. Just before it was during the January window. We did our team of the half season, and Robertson was up there based on statistics, and he was probably still remains to be one of Liverpool's best performers, probably behind Mohamed Salah, because obviously Salah just scores for fun. He's a machine. He is absolute machine. One of the Premier League goats, definitely. But Robertson was definitely still performing. But Shaw at club level this season, especially with the threat of signing in a new left back who has had experience of winning titles at several different clubs, in several different clubs in Europe. Obviously taking a massive step up to the Premier League. And there's also Alex Telles has been good. He's been good when I've seen him. But Shaw has just been something different, and the agility, the fitness levels of him as well to play the majority of the season and then go on to do it at a Euro competition. Not everyone can do it. I mean, you could say the same for the whole England squad, really, but Shaw definitely in that particular game against Ukraine absolutely shone.
I generally, you bring up Alex Telles. I really do think like there have been lots of instances where players have been brought in to make sure that you are performing better. It's happened with goalkeepers. It's happened with every single other position. And Luke Shaw has stepped his game up massively. Alex Telles has not seen that United team this season because of Luke Shaw. I think that's just a testament to how good he is. You mentioned another United player. We'll go into him as well. Harry Maguire, slabhead himself. Fantastic header. Arguably, potentially should have scored against Germany as well. He should have maybe scored against Germany twice, actually. Harry Maguire, I mean, like, a lot of people like to bring around like the 80 million price tag or whatever. It's a price tag. It's the modern day football, isn't it? It's just how it is. You like to joke around. Obviously, Liverpool versus Man United. I'm always going to joke about it. It's how it is. But Maguire, when he puts on an England shirt, I'll support him, and he's had a phenomenal Euro so far since he's come back from injury. Obviously, having Mings in there to fill in that role, but him and Stones at the moment have been really good, and we played that back five against Germany as well. Walker filling in for those, for the lack of pace that Maguire has, but even still, like, I mean, maybe looking forward to teams like the teams that have very fast going in behind players, like Italy, obviously going through to the final now. That might be where Maguire struggles. I mean, as a player, he's obviously very good defensively, but there are definitely areas that you can take advantage of with Maguire, though.
Yeah, I mean, same with any other player. You know, Maguire isn't the most agile. He doesn't have the pace of some defenders, but a classic defender, a hard defender, a defender who's not scared to go in for a challenge. That's what you get with him. And obviously, this is why you have defenders as a duo. John Stones and Harry Maguire, I think, are a fantastic duo for England. They are a really strong duo. And England used to have Ferdinand and Terry, you know, and that is like a world-beating defensive partnership. You know, and you get to talk about Manchester United at club level. We've had Ferdinand and Vidic, obviously, famously. We've had Jaap Stam. We've had fantastic other centre backs. You know, we've had strong players over the years that have been really influential in that position. And I think going in and being a defender and a goalkeeper at Manchester United is one of the most scrutinised positions on the planet you can have. The fee was big. The first season was rocky. You know, and people are going to take the mick, definitely 100%. But it's no different to what it would be like at other clubs. But obviously, when you have Manchester United, you know, you do have a spotlight shone on you, and off the pitch issues as well. But he is now, I honestly think, he is starting to be like, right, okay, you can show me a little bit of respect now because this is what I'm doing at club level. This is what I'm doing at, you know, on an international level. If he would have left with the Europa League this season, I think it would have made him even more, you know, progressive. Obviously, he got that injury, but he clearly needed that time away to re-heal because look at him now. Then again, though, Maguire, I think it's unfair just to focus on him. The entire defence, we already spoke about Shaw. Stones has been good. I think Walker has also been good. Trippier has been good when I've seen him. The whole defence, really. I think the only person... I mean, Tyrone Mings and Connor Cody and Chilwell and James, obviously, they're the guys who have been struggling a little bit more for game time. But there are plenty worse backups you can have. So, you know, if they're keeping the seats warm, I'm perfectly comfortable with that, you know, definitely. But the defence this season for England, there's a reason we haven't conceded.
Exactly. Yeah. We you know, the last time that we conceded 0 going into a semi-final, we went and won the tournament. Bearing in mind that was about 55 years ago. It's still to be seen, but I mean, maybe Denmark can come in and do that. But Harry Maguire definitely, like, playing at United at the club level with the price tag and being the captain as well. He has the magnifying glass over him. And speaking of men with magnifying glasses on them, a man who was a bit disgruntled towards the end of the season, wants out of his club, and that's Harry Kane, scoring 2. You know, he's got his fight. He's fit and firing. Scored against Germany. He's got his confidence back. Everyone loves Kane now. I mean, sky's the limit for Harry Kane now, right?
Well, I mean, definitely. I mean, it's his second goal at the Euros now. I mean, I think I accidentally said earlier he bagged 2 in that game. That was doing a huge discredit to a certain Liverpool captain. But I was definitely trying to push that out of my mind. Maybe that's why I said Kane did it. Who knows? But obviously, you know, an amazing moment for him. We'll go through and talk about that again in a minute. But Kane, definitely at this tournament, you know, he is having a fantastic time. He is having a fantastic time now. It took a bit of a while to get it off, but, you know, 2 goals in these knockout stages fills him with confidence. We're going in to play Denmark now, and we can't underestimate these guys either. So you're going to want Kane fit and firing, aren't you?
Kane did have 2 against Ukraine. He scored 3 in the knockout stage. He scored the one at the beginning, and he scored early on in the second half.
Wait, hang on. So Raheem Sterling scored, didn't he?
No, he didn't score against Ukraine.
No, he scored in the game before. There you go.
That was the only game where Raheem Sterling has not scored at the Euros.
We had a triple Harry and a Jordan, didn't we? That's what we did. We had the triple Harry and the Jordan.
You love a triple Harry. Triple H. Apart from they don't spit water.
You love a Triple H. But yeah, you mentioned Harry Kane being, you know, kind of wanting out of the club. That's kind of all to be, you know, discovered. We'll have to see the full ins and outs of that. I definitely feel like he's maybe getting to that stage. Whether it happens, who knows? You know, Tottenham have got Nuno in now, which is something obviously, you know, we haven't really spoken about, obviously, because we've been covering Euro football. We will get back into covering, you know, proper club football again very soon after this tournament. But who knows if Nuno's going to be enough to keep him. Man City are interested. I'm sure plenty others are as well. But, you know, doing pretty well. He's led, you know, a good attack in these knockout stages. But Raheem Sterling, he didn't get a goal in that particular game, but he's also been the guy up there with him getting the majority of the crux of the goals for England.
No, and obviously, the attack with us is very good. Obviously, Sterling is finding his confidence. Kane, Sancho runs rings around every single player that he was on against Ukraine. I mean, that was Ukraine, but I mean, we've got a formidable defense. And speaking of teams that have a very formidable offense, we'll move on to Denmark and the Czech Republic. That game, obviously, at times Denmark were looking a bit shaky. Obviously, they conceded against the Czech Republic. Schick has been fantastic for the Czech Republic, but I think Dolberg and Poulsen, what a strike partnership that is for Denmark. I mean, they're definitely dangerous, and potentially they could score against us.
I mean, for a nation who have had such a terrible setback, obviously losing, due to a heart attack, Christian Eriksen, which, there's pictures of him now, out of hospital and stuff, and it's really good to see. And I think there's like a clear path for him to try and get the treatment he needs, and I think they know what's needed of him, which is fantastic news. But for a team that have lost a player as creative and as intelligent as Christian Eriksen, who would improve any nation, they have done exceedingly well. They're at semi-finals. We were mentioning earlier some of the caliber of players. Dolberg, Schmeichel, Højbjerg as well. You mentioned Poulsen, you mentioned Dolberg. That's just naming a few there. Some of the talent that they have in that team is fantastic. But Dolberg especially, Schick for the Czech Republic and Dolberg, obviously both getting goals. Those two young strikers have had a really good little tournament as well. They've definitely been showing what they can do, and they've made a bit of a name for themselves.
Yeah, I mean, giving all the credit to the attack as well, but you look at the defense as well. They've got big, Schmeichel in goal. He's been fantastic for Leicester. They've got Kjær, who obviously the man who saved, started the process of CPR with Christian Eriksen, but also he's a great defender. He played for AC Milan, who came second in the Serie A this season. And not only that, Thomas Delaney, who also scored the goal in the early stages of the game against Czech Republic. Defender, he can play centre back, he can play central defensive midfield. That man he's so fit. I think that's the theme with this entire Denmark team. They're so physical. I'm not sure whether Declan Rice and Calvin Phillips are going to be able to cope with that in the midfield. I don't know, but Delaney obviously is a great defender. I think it's Mailer or something like that. Apologies for the pronunciation. I'm terrible with names. But yeah, he playing for Atlanta as well, providing some of the assists throughout the tournament. He's been a very, very good attacking wingback, much like a lot of other wingbacks have. We talk about Luke Shaw, we got Mail, we've got Dumfries from the Netherlands. A lot of these players are coming out, and this Euros is their coming out party, and there's a lot of eyes on these players now. So, I mean, where do you think the danger areas lie for Denmark in this tournament?
Well, the thing is just that when the strikers have been, like, for example, I will highlight Dolberg again. He has been quite clinical, and he's definitely someone they can rely on for a goal, and he has scored some good ones as well. I feel like what England, you go back to the World Cup and the pain of that semi-final, an incredible free kick goal, and then you look at the scoreline at the end of it and you think, what has gone wrong here? Was it general underestimation of the team? That, I feel, has been, a lot of the time, has been our biggest enemy. But I think at this tournament, we scored against everyone bar Scotland. Scotland gave us a really good game. And that was definitely probably the weakest performance that we've seen of England so far. It definitely didn't resemble the rest of these other games. But I think the threat levels from Denmark really rely, like you said, on how physical they are and how much of a game they can give us with their agility. We can't let our guard down. We need to lay out the exact same way I feel like we did against Ukraine, in my opinion. I think Jack Grealish, Saka, Sancho, we have options on the left and the right. We have Sterling as well. Marcus Rashford, we've really yet to see much of Marcus Rashford as well. We have plenty of attacking options. I have faith in our defence, and I also have faith in the duo of Declan Rice and Calvin Phillips. I think they have also been exemplary. But, whether maybe Calvin Phillips does 50 minutes, Jordan Henderson comes on for a bit more of an experienced kind of hand, kind of leading us forward. Maybe Henderson comes on. Maybe, if we're able to go a couple of goals up, maybe if they're pressing more, we can change around the defence. We just can't underestimate it. And also, so far, Southgate, I will say, I'm touching wood as I say this, but he has got every tactic spot on right. He's got it all right. Even when people say Trippier at left back and people were criticising other areas, he got it spot on. So I have full faith in whatever team he's going to lay out tomorrow. It would have to take something extremely shocking to have people lose faith in him now. But he's been exemplary. But I'm not sure about you. But like you said, their physicality is something that we need to keep in mind.
Definitely. I mean, their physicality is something that I don't think that we're going to be able to. We're never going to be able to push them around. But we're not that type of team. We're not the type of team to go out there and play bully ball. Whereas Denmark are, they're going to push us around. We've got the flair. We have Jadon Sancho, we've got Phil Foden, Mason Mount, Raheem Sterling. We've got all these players that are very, they're tricky, they're fast, they're elegant when they're on the ball. They carry the ball with such a presence, and you fear them when they're on the ball. Whereas Denmark are no nonsense. They know how to defend, and we've seen that time and time again in this Euros. So I think that it's going to be a tough game. But I think this kind of leads us on to one of our first guests. Obviously, these are sent in, but yeah. So someone who maybe doesn't have the rose tinted glasses that we have. Obviously, we're English. We're proud English. It's coming home. But I mean, we can now get the unbiased Irish opinion of a man who, a lot of people already know, Matt Hayes, the Tottenham blog. Known for talking all things Tottenham, does some amazing interviews. Go check him out. He's in the link in the description. Top bloke as well. But yeah, here's his opinion. And yeah, we'll discuss it after the clip plays.
Hi lads, thanks for having me on. I think this is going to be a very, very entertaining encounter between Denmark and England, two teams who have definitely outperformed my expectations of them in the competition so far. Denmark, recovering from their awful start for definitely more reason than one, and England getting through around a 16 tie that I personally didn't see them getting through. But now we're in a situation where, of course, one of them are going to be in the final, and I have to say I'm leaning towards England because it's going to be a tough sort of challenge for them, one that they haven't encountered so far in facing a Danish midfield that is certainly going to give them a challenge in terms of the physicality, perhaps to the extent that we would have expected of the Ukraine midfield. But that, of course, didn't happen. England have played some technically gifted midfields, especially in that German game. But I think the power in the middle of that park, especially with Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, will be a new challenge for Declan Rice and Calvin Phillips if they are the ones chosen in the middle of the park. But I think just the quality going forward, when you're looking at the likes of Sancho, Foden, Mount, Grealish, all struggling to get into that starting 11 on a consistent basis, it is a myriad of players that Gareth Southgate has to choose from. And I think the quality in this one will carry them over the line, as much as they do have to be wary of the likes of Damsgaard and Braithwaite on the other side, and Højbjerg, who has shown an attacking threat in this competition. I think England will have enough to get through this one to be in the final, but I wouldn't be surprised if Denmark end their run of clean sheets.
Right. So yeah, there we go. Great. Thank you to Matt for sending that in. So one of the points obviously that he said is that this Danish team is physical. We've said that they're going to be physical, they're going to be dominant. But he has said that England are going to come out with the win. But Denmark could end our lengthy clean sheet reign. Do you think it's possible that they could score against us?
The threat's there. I mean, thank you to Matt for sending in that opinion. And he hinted at the physicality of that team, like you said, that we've mentioned. The goal threat, it is potentially there. I think it all depends on, like I mentioned before, whether England let this guard down. So far we've been like an absolute rock at the back. We've had, I think, also I'll tell you what, don't think we didn't mention it before. Jordan Pickford has been fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. When there's been so much pressure on him with Pope and Henderson, obviously both of those keepers getting knocked down. Sam Johnston coming up, who is a competent keeper in his own right, but maybe a bit of a surprise inclusion. Ramsdale as well. People didn't expect that, but those guys are there to, provide him with a bit of comfort. But Jordan Pickford, my God, what a tournament! What a tournament he's had. So I think if we do not let our guard down, if Pickford stays, on his form, defense and the CDMs do their work, I honestly think we can maintain this clean sheet. It's the final where things may get a bit dicey, because obviously it's going to be a very heated game with Italy if we do get there. But I have faith in England, so I'm hoping for another clean sheet.
Yeah, I'm kind of hoping for that too. Like they're very physical. Like they can get in the air, so we have to avoid crosses at all times. So they might play a back five like we did against Germany, aiming for the wing backs to go out wide, and then they have the three centre backs to add that coverage. So it depends on how they're going to line up. It depends how they're going to play. They've got two very good players in the air when it comes to like crosses and set pieces and stuff. So they're going to be. We're not going to want to give away any free kicks in the attacking half. We're not going to want to give away corners, and we're certainly not going to want them to go out in the wings, which is we're going to be relying on Carl Walker and Luke Shaw a lot. We can't let them counter attack. It's going to be a really tough game. But yeah, thanks again to Matt for sending that in. That's much appreciated. Obviously, go into the link down below. Go give him a subscribe if you're not subscribed already, but you probably are. And that leads us on to the next guest, a journalist for Prost International. He covers Cardiff in the EFL Championship. Standalone. Chris Stonage, who is obviously a massive part of that. He's been on the podcast a lot of times. And yeah, let's throw it to Chris.
All right, the average pundits boys, I hope we're all okay. I've been asked to do my England versus Denmark predictions. I'm quietly confident for England. I mean, I'm not massively supporting them in these Euros, but I do want them to win. But Denmark bring a different test. After all the Ericsson stuff, I think it'll be difficult for England, but I am going to go 1-0, and I'm going to go for a Jordan Henderson goal, because he scored one the other day. That's my boy.
Well, cheers, Chris. I mean, obviously, he's going to rose-tinted glasses. We're all English. He said 1-0 to England. But obviously, he's mentioned Jordan Henderson to score. He scored in the last game. Joe, what's your reaction to Chris saying Jordan Henderson to score?
Like knowing Chris is a great guy. Knowing Chris after coming on this show and stuff, all the times we spoke to Chris, that's like quintessentially Chris. You never know. Did I expect Jordan Henderson to come on and score in that last game? No, I didn't. But stranger things have happened. It could be someone else. Could be Connor Cody coming on and getting the goal. Who knows? We want to get to a stage where England have got a few goals ahead, like we were against the Ukraine, and then we can afford to bring some other players on. Against the Ukraine, after a while, Declan Rice, Calvin Phillips came off. We protected those yellow cards, sailed through, no yellow cards or anything, which was a fantastic news for us. And we were able to see some fresh legs come on. So fingers crossed. The goal could come from anywhere. Honestly, I don't think any England fan at all cares who that goal comes from, because there has been, it's the same vibes as the World Cup was. The unity's there. The whole country is behind this. So whoever scores, I don't care who it is, just get it in the back of the net, get us to the final. Get us facing Italy. Let's do it. Come on.
Exactly. And, thanks again to Chris. His Twitter is in the description. Go and give him a follow. The football hipster himself. He loves Graham Potter so much. I've heard that Graham Potter's got a restraining order on him. But I guess that kind of leads us into us finalizing our kind of preview for what would be tonight's game. If you're obviously watching this on the Wednesday, guys. So we have to potentially come down with some score predictions. Joe, what do you think the outcome could be? Scoring, scorers, potential outcomes of the game.
Anyone going into this and is discounting Denmark as a side, don't do it. Please don't do it. Go back and watch some of their performances, watch the goals, and you'll start to see they are a formidable side. So do I feel like we're going to have another 4-0 demolishing? On paper, no. I'm hoping we are. That'll be fantastic. I feel like we're going to have a tough game. I feel like it's going to have a concise game, but I do think we are going to have more than one goal. I'm going for 2-0. I honestly think our defense is going to pull up again. I want to see us performing well at the back, as we have for this entire tournament. And I wouldn't be surprised to see Kane again on the score sheet. Maybe someone else, maybe Raheem Sterling keeps up the goal scoring, but I think Kane will get a guaranteed goal. And I'd love to see someone else get on the score sheet as well. But I'm going for a respectable 2-0 to get us to the final.
Yeah, I totally agree. Like you can't discount a team like Denmark. They're on a warpath. They have been since their opening game. You know, they're doing this for Christian Eriksen. And I mean, what if they do beat us and they go and beat Italy? What a story that will be. It will be like Leicester winning the Premier League. What a story that would be. Apart from Denmark winning the Euros, it's probably more likely than Leicester winning the Premier League. But what a tournament it has been so far, and there's so many stories that can be written from this. Um, whether we can beat Denmark, I think that we can. I do think that we're going to. I mean, not discrediting their attacking, but I do think that we can cope with their attackers if we limit their crossing and their set piece play. So when it comes to it, I think it's going to be. I'm going to agree with Chris. I think it's going to be a 1-0. I think it will be either Kane or Sterling, either that or I really don't think that we're going to be able to match their ability in the air when it comes to us taking corners and stuff. We've been able to get John Stones up and almost scoring. We've managed to get Maguire almost scoring from corners and stuff. You know, we've managed to get Sterling scoring from crosses, which has been absolutely bizarre. But maybe a long range shot. You know, catching the keeper off guard, catching Schmeichel off guard. But everyone, do let us know either on social media, which is on the screen right now, or in the link in the description. Go let us know what your score predictions are. And I mean, let us know in the comments as well what your score predictions are, because we are definitely interested to know. But theoretically, Joe, say, both of our scenarios, either one of them come true. It's a 1-0 or a 2-0. We beat Denmark. Italy's up next in the final. At Wembley, though, so that's some would say that's a big advantage. Where does the danger lie with this Italian squad, especially after just watching, as me and you both have just watched the semi-final against Spain? Where does the danger lie, especially for a team like England?
I mean, you've seen it yourself. Everyone's seen who's watched these Italians at this tournament. I don't think anyone expected Mancini to come with a side this hungry and this fierce. You mentioned Spinazzola earlier. Obviously, we won't be seeing him, but Locatelli. We've been seeing some absolutely players that have come up and made a huge name for themselves at this tournament. We've been seeing, firm favourites like Insigne, Jorginho, and Ciro Immobile, talent all over the pitch. But coming up against England at home in a final, we're going to do it. We're going to do it. I'm confident. I am so confident. I'm touching wood. I'm everything. But, hopefully none of this comes back to haunt us. But tomorrow, I'm sure we will do it. And we will definitely be able to get some, early content out for you if we do make it to the final. Because obviously the final's being played on Sunday. We normally release on Tuesdays. But if we beat Denmark, there will definitely be a little bit of extra content coming this week. But Reece, it's been a good episode. Hopefully, we're celebrating tomorrow. We're calling each other afterwards and going absolutely crazy. So fingers crossed we will be celebrating. And
potentially, I could be going live on YouTube by the time that you're watching this. Potentially, live streaming my reactions to the semi-final. I've got nice little graphics for you. So we'll be watching the game together. We'll be having some fun, getting my live reactions. And let's hope that we take this win tomorrow. I really hope so. I mean, you mentioned all the players from Italy there, like Insigne. I think Insigne is one of the worst players to come against, especially with England, because he's so fast, so agile, and he can. I mean, Chiesa as well from tonight. He was the goal scorer. He's been fantastic. He's got the eyes of the world on him now. We will definitely do some reactions for you guys. We may just decide if we beat Denmark, me and Joe will definitely come up with something. But yeah, thank you everyone for watching and listening to this episode of the Average Pundits podcast, episode 82. 82.
Across 2 seasons, 82 episodes is mental to think. And obviously, if you're watching here on YouTube, give us a little like and subscribe. And if you're listening to this on your favorite streaming platform, give us a little follow on there as well, because you will be updated whenever we do release new episodes. And also, just for the benefit of those who are listening, on Instagram and Facebook, we're the Average Pundits. On Twitter, we're Pundits Average. And if you want to ever make any inquiries to come on the show, we are the Average Pundits at outlook.com. But guys, thank you so much for tuning in today. The motto is still, it's coming home. Good luck, England, against Denmark. Everyone will be with you. We'll definitely be with you. And we will hopefully see you very soon with some positive news Thank you, guys. Enjoy the Euros.